Welcome to Watch Me Go Broke. What if I told you that you could have a watch for 80 bucks and it had a sapphire crystal, it had a ceramic bezel, it had a Seiko movement that's mecha quartz with a snapback chronograph, and it also is a chronograph, and it homages one of the most iconic watches ever invented by man on this planet. I'm talking about the Rolex Daytona. So let's awkwardly bend over a table and take a look at the Parnis Chronograph Daytona homage. All right, everybody, it is pouring down rain outside right now. So on my wrist today is my Phoebus Ocean Master 1,000-meter diver, because when it rains, I don't play. And here is today's watch in question. This is going to be the Parnis Chronograph Daytona homage. You've got a 39.5 millimeter case, a thickness of 13.5 millimeters, a lug-to-lug of 46 millimeters, 20 millimeter lug widths tapering all the way down to 16 at the clasp and back up to 18 at the clasp. You're probably asking yourself, hey man, why would I pick one of these up instead of the original Rolex Daytona? Well, I don't know about you, but I don't have $75,000 lying around, and if I did right now in the United States, I sure wouldn't be using it to buy this watch. The case is going to be all 316L stainless steel with high polish on the sides, polish on the end of the pushers, and the unsigned crown is also highly polished. You've got a ceramic bezel with a tachometer, sapphire glass, which is actually really good at this price point. It is a little boxed sapphire. It raises above the bezel. You do have screw-down pushers and a screw-down case back that is very similar to the watch that it is homaging. The crown, however, does not screw down. It is just a push-pull crown. The bracelet is also all 316L stainless steel, oyster style bracelet, pretty solid, pretty substantial, polished center links, and this is actually screw pins. At this price point, screw pins is really amazing that they were able to do that. The clasp is going to be a double pusher milled clasp, fold over scissor clasp. It is very substantial. It's pretty well made. It does have 3 micro adjustments there. And there is a closer look at the case back. This is going to be pretty much a case back that you would see on all of the Rolex Daytonas. Other than on the dial, this is the only time you're going to see the word Parnis. I'm not sure exactly what Parnis's logo is, but this is sort of a cursive style of the word Parnis. And of course, on the actual dial, it is just block lettering of the word Parnis. So the dial is going to be what I would refer to the color as aquamarine. It's not quite blue, it's not green, it's sort of a mix between those two. It is sunburst. You can see it's playing with the studio lights here a little bit. 3 subdials today, a 60-minute chronograph at the 9 o'clock position, the counting seconds at the 6 o'clock position, and a 24-hour counter at the 3 o'clock position that is extremely hard to read and figure out and pretty much useless on a quick glance. So all applied indices on the dial today, they are baton style indices other than the triangle at the 12 o'clock position. They have high polished sides on all 4 sides, and they are filled with some lume, and I will do a lume shot here right quick to let you take a look. Not too bright, not very impressive, and this lume, at least it's there, at least they tried. It's not great, and it doesn't last long at all. Let's talk a little bit about the movement. This is going to be a mecha quartz movement, and that means it is battery driven with the quartz timekeeping mechanism, but there is also a mechanical element to this watch that I will demonstrate now. Screw down pushers. To unscrew them, you just unscrew them, just like I said, all the way out. They are actually pretty substantial. The threading feels nice. It feels secure. Really, for a watch at this price point, it is quite impressive. To start the chronograph, you simply push this top button. And look at that. That is a mechanical sweep. That is 1/5 of a second sweep in a quartz watch. That is where the Mecha Quartz name comes from. It is a very mechanical sweep, and that is really neat. If you just handed this to somebody and said, hey, this is a cool watch, you know, you might could even pass it off as mechanical, just if you showed them this particular movement. And it's supposed to have a 4-year battery life. Now, I don't know if that includes running the chronograph constantly. Probably not, but I would assume you could run it, you know, maybe once a day for maybe 30 to the 60-minute chronograph there, and you would probably get that 4-year battery life. And to stop the chronograph, you simply push this top button again. Very mechanical feeling snap there. And to reset, you push this bottom pusher that's at the 4 o'clock position, and watch this. Boom! Snaps back. A snap-back mechanism in a quartz. It's not the flyback, well, I guess I'm not sure if it's called flyback, but traditionally with the quartz chronograph, you would see it just slowly go all the way and reset itself that way. This one does not do that. It flies back very much like a mechanical movement. But should you fancy picking up one of these wonderful Parnis chronographs, I would recommend eBay is the best place to get them. A variety of prices on there, all the way from, you know, 80 bucks all the way to 243. Don't fall for that guy's trap, haha. But yeah, you can pick them up for about 80, 85, 90 dollars from various parts of the world, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So what do I like about this watch? I think that dial is outstanding looking. It is so classy. It looks like a 10 times more expensive watch. Hell, it may even look better than the actual Daytona that it's homaging here. I know the colors are a little bit different on the actual Daytona than they are with this, but this aquamarine style color is just outstanding looking. I love the indices. I think it's good, and I like the minimalist style of the Parnas logo and the word chronograph below it. I think it just kind of, it's understated, and it doesn't really, you know, it's not gaudy or anything like that. They were definitely going for class with this. I like that it has a sapphire crystal at this price point. Seiko, listen up, start looking at that. You're gonna have to do something because the watch markets are not looking super great right now. Ceramic bezel also is just a bonus. I think this thing could really take a beating and keep on ticking for sure. The case is just wonderful. The size at 39.5 millimeters is outstanding. And the bracelet, again, at this price point, this is an outstanding bracelet. Just absolutely outstanding. Screw pins, it's very solid. There's very little wiggle. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel loose. Forgot to mention, it does have solid end links as well. It's just amazing, amazing high polish on the sides. For the price point, I don't know how they were able to do this. I love the mechanical movement in this. I think that's just a great touch. I know with some quartz chronographs, you're going to see the regular tick of the seconds hand when you start the chronograph, like you would see the tick down at the 60-second counting subdial there. But this smooth sweeping mechanical, it just adds a whole nother dimension to this watch that is really, really cool and really surprising, again, at this price point of 80 something, maybe 90 bucks. This is not going to be beatable. I know Pagani Design has their versions of this. I'd love to get one of those in-house and take a look at it, but for my money, this color, it's just absolutely outstanding. So what do I not like about this watch? Well, there are really just probably two things that I do not like. And the first one I will show you here. Stopping the chronograph and then resetting. And if you will look closely, if you can see, that is not lined up at all. And you say, well, hey man, at the beginning of the video, it was lined up. And yes, it was, because I do a little trick where I just do this after I reset it, just boop, boop. And then I've got it reset. You know, it's just a lot of force, you know, and this is a watch that's made very cheaply. The quality doesn't feel cheap at all. This feels like $1,000 watch, for sure it does. But the quality, you know, I'm not sure if the second's hand, maybe it's not quite, you know, gripping the shaft that it's supposed to. Gripping the shaft, yeah. I don't know if anybody's used that term ever. Oh, yeah. I don't know if it does, but it did get out of alignment on the first time I tried the chronograph. But it doesn't really bother me because I can reset it, and you know, it looks fine. You can't tell this subdial didn't move at all, so I think that's pretty fine. And really, you're not going to be using this thing to really accurately do time. Although I think you probably could. I have no reason to believe that it would not be accurate. Another thing I don't really like is it, you know, pretty much useless 24-hour counting subdial. It could have been marked better. I'm not sure if on the real one, or not the real one, but the one that's homaging, that's any better. I've got to re-look at that dial to see if there is something different there, but it's kind of useless. It would have been nice to see maybe a little bit more designation of the markings if you're going to do that. But really, at a quick glance, you can't even tell what that is. And really, the clasp, this is going to be your standard clasp that you will find on pretty much all of Parnas's watches at this point. Look, it is substantial. It is good. It is secure. But what in the hell is that, like, protrusion right here? I'm not sure what in the world they were thinking. When it's on your wrist, it just sits weird. Like, it kind of like juts out. And yeah, I mean, why that's not flat, I have no idea. Maybe they were just trying to make their own clasp so they couldn't be accused of copying anything, but hell, you've copied the rest of the damn watch. I don't know why you really wouldn't even want to copy the clasp. That's something weird, and I'll show you on my wrist real quick. So there you go. When you have it on your wrist, it just sort of pops it out a little bit, like it raises it up. It just looks so weird. I wouldn't say it's, like, you know, necessarily uncomfortable or anything, but it's quite an odd design, and I'm just not sure where the thinking of that comes in. I mean, maybe it was made for someone with a very, very small wrist, where their wrist could actually fit, you know, in this portion here. But geez, I have no idea what in the world is going on with that. But this is it on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. I think it just wears beautifully. It does wear a little bit larger because the end links protrude out from the case a little bit. So you're going to get another millimeter there. So effectively, you know, even though it's 46 lug to lug, effectively it's probably 48 and a half, something like that. So it's going to wear maybe a little bigger than you would think it would for a 39.5 millimeter case. But gosh, just gorgeous. I would certainly recommend picking one of these up if you're spending money on watches right now. I don't know if I would recommend doing that if you're in the United States. Maybe not a great idea right now, but if you're in the rest of the world, please support Parnas. This is a very, very, very high quality watch for the price, and I think it's just outstanding. Well, there you go, the Parnis Chronograph Daytona Homage. I think it's a really cool watch, and the quality is really amazing for the price that you get it. I really recommend picking one up for sure, you know, and then change out that wonky clasp. I'm not sure what they were doing with that. But until next time, I'm going to try not to get arrested while I'm here. Bye.